Okay, well, numbers, while they don't tell the truth always, certainly never lie of their own volition. And I want to thank y'all for stopping by that Wizardry stream I did. It is a cold, rainy December morning today. I'm hoping everyone was entertained by it and would like to see more, because we're going to continue on with Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord. This is the Digital Eclipse Early Access facelift slash revamp of the Apple II port of the Surtec original, and we're going to go back in on our attempted rescue mission of my .hack party. Let's go ahead, continue the save file, visit the tavern. We're going to add to the party. It's always good to have a backup party. Leveling, by the way, for instances just like this. Now, my backup party was originally Telner, Grumble, Draven, Cynic, Deleast, and Savon. And they're all of the 8th level now. I did a little bit of grinding work off screen. But another thing I did, just in case these guys ran afoul of anything, was started yet another party. I have Whimsy, a halfling fighter, Laura, a human bishop, Granda, a dwarf fighter with probably my favorite portrait in this entire game, 1 and a 2, the good elf priest, Nimble, the gnome thief, and Jean, short for congenial, elf mage. They're all about 3rd level, Nimble leveled up to 4 because thief experience was always a little lower in classic D&D and classic Wizardry as well. They were never excellent at anything, but they advanced a little quicker. Plus, this is a dungeon crawl, and locks need picked, traps need disarmed. Thieves, to me, are a vital part of the game. I understand the argument against them, but I like having them, and I usually do put them in the front line so the priest can be free to cast buff spells from the back. Without further ado, it's on to our rescue mission team, though. I will apologize for any leeching audio. The family is getting ready upstairs, and one of the things about my work-related sort of 2023 is, yeah, we've all just kind of gotten used to doing our own thing a bit more. Put the least up front. It became a bit of a hit point tank, which is great in those early levels when the thieves aren't super intuitive on disarming traps. And I usually put the bishop ahead of the mage because if he has to get to front line, you're generally in trouble if he does. But a bishop typically has better weaponry at their disposal. Going to head back into the maze. Now we've gotten past the first couple floors here rather easily. By the 8th level, you're hitting the 3rd floor pretty regular. But there are a couple things I wanted to go over here while we're sort of walking through. One is why I typically don't take the elevator down to the 2nd floor. First, we're going to deal with some orcs. Also, I hope some of the game audio is coming through the background here. Hopefully it's not drowning out and just sort of playing with settings to see what works out here. I absolutely love this rework of the music. It's the same music I got used to on the NES port, and it is fantastic. Just fantastic music. It sets the mood perfectly, especially in battle here. I would actually find myself, sin of all sins when retro gaming, humming this song and sort of keeping it internalized while playing Final Fantasy. The orc, I'll pop the cards up here as we go so you can see resistant to fire. Has an extra action. I'm assuming that means it runs away easily. The least didn't quite get through the orc there, which you kind of expect. But we got 2 out of 3 in the surprise round, and Telner finishes it off. Nice quick battle there. I also love this map idea with the ambient map and this, keeping the sort of snapshot with Duma pick. If there's one thing I wish you could do though, it's like drag and drop little icons so you can mark the traps and the, forced encounters and whatnot. Just a little way of mapping yourself. Again, I can't help myself from doing a wish list as I play here. But we're going to take the elevator down to the second floor here. And it's going to put us in a small room here with one door out, which is going to lead to a small door. Here's some creeping cruds. Now, we don't really want to mess too much with these guys. I want to say Cynic has Latimofus. Yeah, that's the spell you need to cure poison, but I only have 3 spots available. It's also where my heavier heals come from. So we're going to throw a Matu out just for a little armor class boost. Going to cast a Dilto out of Draven just for an armor class penalty on the slimes, and we're going to go with some Mahalito and hope that Sathon's initiative is high and he just wipes the board. Okay, honestly, that couldn't have worked out better. Got a little bit of combat in, got our wipe beforehand, and we got a treasure chest. The least is fairly certain it's a poison needle. Lo and behold, it was. Now, everybody's a little bit richer on gold. I love that it splits it out. Again, due to the classic mechanic of each character getting their individual gold. But I also love that it automatically pulls the gold into one shared lot. Now, as you may be noticing here, there's really no way to advance. There's no hidden doors or anything. The elevator to the second floor really takes you nowhere. Very populated nowhere, though. 5 squares, and this is our 5th monster faced. Second encounter, but 5th monster. So yeah, no secret entrances, no anything here. And head back up to floor 1. Floor 2 is actually sort of quartered off really nicely. When you look at the full map, it's actually got like some really distinct chambers and whatnot. And every section is sort of sealed off on its own. You have the spiral in the upper right just sort of leading to the 3rd floor. The upper left and up center quadrant have some key items. The lower left corner is just this series of larger rooms. I haven't even explored them all, honestly. Not entirely sure how to explore them all. The doors are a little bit misleading. There are some one-way doors as well that I haven't quite uncovered. The bottom right kind of continues into that, so I guess you could say the bottom half is sort of its own thing. And then you notice dead center, that little 5 square blank area. I wonder if that'll fill in now since we were there. That is actually where the elevator is. I'm going to go ahead and cast a Duma pick just to see. Yeah, see? The elevator's right there in the middle. And now I have saved that for my entire save file. All of my characters now know. Like I said, I like that little neat inclusion. talked myself into sort of getting lost on the screen. I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at there. Got 3 more creeping cruds. Let's take the chance here. Let's take the chance on some poison. I don't think it's going to hit us, but we'll take a Matu and we'll try some single target fire spells. I'm betting on my fighters and my initiative count here. Oh, the least got some damage in. There's 1 kill. There's my armor class buff. There's 2 kills. And there's 3. Look at that. The party all got first and took out the cruds. Probably shouldn't be celebrating a level 2, a second floor encounter that heavily, but you take your positives in this game. I also love the feeling between the shared gold and whatnot that you're not so much building individual parties, but you're kind of building an adventurer's guild. That's the way I take it. It just sort of has that feel. 3rd floor here, and this is where I really wish you could mark things. Because the 3rd floor has some pit traps and whatnot. The traps don't drop you to a lower floor or anything, they just sort of, you know, drop you down sharply and your whole party takes some random damage. Very dangerous on your first couple forays. There are a couple safe paths entirely through. And there are many, and I mean many, a hidden door. So typically if you're level grinding here, what you want to do is find these rows of rooms that are 4 squares wide. And if you start in the bottom left, come up through, they're going to give you a couple 3x2 rooms that you could just sort of wander through for random encounters. And as long as you're working vertically within that 4 square wide space and just weaving through the rooms, you should be able to go endlessly through the 3rd floor there, just, you know, grinding the rooms for experience and be relatively trap free. I like to do it close to the stairs. That way if something arises, it's a quick exit out. Here we have rotting corpses. Have a resistance to sleep and they can paralyze. Fortunately, Grumble not really tolerating them too much. Got a trapless chest. And Cynic receives a helm. On the 3rd floor, I'm not expecting anything wild out of this. I went to Talmer instead of Cynic. Now I want to say my characters that can use a helm already have, but we will give it a look after. It's identifying, yeah, it's just a helm. Can't equip. Let's try Cynic. Can't equip. And I'm almost positive that the least can't equip. Yep. So yeah, we have a nice item to sell back in town. I want to say the helm is a purchase price of 100, so it should sell for 50. And every bit of gold helps, because random deaths will happen. And don't forget, we're saving up to rescue 4 level 9, not level 9, level 11 or so characters in the 9th floor of a dungeon. So res costs are going to be exorbitant by the time we get back. 4 dragonflies. These have a breath effect that is similar to the Halitos spell. They're also rather nimble. So this is a case where we really want to go first with our spells more than anything else. And we're going to double up on the Dilto here. Try for that +4 armor class. Telner already making me look like a fool with that 1-hit kill, but the least didn't do jack with his shot, so you can kind of see where that trouble comes in. got some damage, but not a kill. And yeah, one of the things about the breath attack is the dragonflies are going to hit the back row. See, everyone in the party has taken some damage at this point. There's a 20% magic resist on these dragonflies as well. Base armor class of 4, so we've effectively doubled it. They are resistant to fire, which you would expect. We get through, but everyone's taken some damage. Got a nice bit of experience there. I'm not in terribly rough shape yet, but if I get close to the stairs here, I'm probably going back. Because again, you just don't want to risk it. Here's a friendly group of dragonflies, and we will definitely leave them in peace. One other little thing that I personally am so grateful for in this port is that I can move independent of the action button. In all of the old console ports, you sort of moved with a move button and just used left, right, and up as a facing. It meant that back, instead of moving backwards, was a quick 180-degree turn, which I used a lot when grinding, because again, I just have this personal theory that moving through doors may force encounters quicker. I doubt that's a real thing, that's just sort of how my mind works on it. But you could see we're right back here. But I would always be running down a corridor, hitting the X button, and occasionally run into a friendly group of monsters that I would unwittingly attack because I'm just mindlessly spamming the action button. So hats off to Digital Eclipse for putting in a better movement system there. Making our way back up for a little bit of an instay. You know what, let's grab this room here. It's a group of level 1 priests, which is always hilarious to me, because if you pull up the bestiary and look up level 1 priests, you know, it's just a group of these guys hanging out talking about, you know, stripy pants or whatnot. Level 1 mage is even funnier, because if you look at the group size, it's 1d1, so if it says a group of level 1 mages, you're literally just looking at a dude. Just like one little mage. Hanging out, saying hi, welcome to dungeon. Creeping Cruds are actually an enemy I haven't fully explored yet, so let's see if we can get some names on the board here for investigating enemies and learning out the creature traits. There we do. I do believe that's Sathon's second credit in the bestiary now. We now know that the Creeping Crud has resistances to ice and sleep. We kind of figured that. We also knew there was a special trait of poison already, but it never hurts to have it listed. Again, another reason you have that sort of Adventurers Guild feel. All of this information is shared between your characters. Another trapless chest. And a bit more gold. Stop before we go further, and now it's time to use up our precious healing slots. Going to use the 3DLs first and make sure to use them where the bars seem to be hit the most. I'm not sure if we're getting more sound effects for the spells. I actually like that little scraping noise on the Dios spell. Just that sort of audible cue that it's going through, it is in fact working. We're gonna try our best here to get our front row covered. So Cynic was able to get a great amount of healing done. And we do have 5 Dios spells available to us from Draven. But Draven is not a world-class healer. Amazingly, it worked out. Down to the last spell, down to the last hit point, but we had just enough healing to recover the party there in one shot. Racked up some nice gold, and we will get a little bit more here as we go in and sell off that helmet. You may notice that the front line is pretty well decked out. Got plate mail and shields +1 for Talner and Grumble. Got leather armor +1 and a shield +1 for Deleased. And have a breastplate +1 and shield +1 for Cynic. It actually puts Cynic's armor class much better than Deleased. But again, I like using the Priest as a back row, and if something were to happen to one of my front lines, a stalwart backup. Haven't really invested in the gear for my casters, but I did find a staff +2 that I want to save on instead of the default staff. Hitting the inn real quick. We're under 1,000 for Grumble to level. Got quite a ways for Talner. Those Samurai experience tables will add up in a hurry. Deleased is just about 500 off. Cynic's got about 8,000 to go. 20,000 for Draven. So Draven and Talner should be leveling at about the same time. And just under 10,000 for Sathan. I'm gonna make a quick foray into the 4th floor here and see if we can't get Grumble and Deleased leveled on this update. It took a bit of time to get the muscle memory back on some of this stuff. You just sort of intuit where some of the locations are. I know that's not the most helpful description. Looking at the 4th floor here, that's pretty well mapped out, actually. There's a little cluster of rooms that I'm not entirely sure how you enter in the lower left, but I mean, this is it. There is a it's a pretty straightforward floor. A lot of those rooms are just redundant rooms. This is a very important floor story-wise, which you don't hear a lot in this game. There isn't a ton of story to go over. But this is where you sort of prove your worth as adventurers, and you can claim the blue ribbon, which is your key to that second elevator way at the bottom of the map. And that's what gets you to the lower floors. I do a lot of grinding right by this alarm bell, and then right back into the hallway. Here we have some boring beetles, which started a base armor class of 3 and hit like a truck. So I'm very happy for the surprise here. Get our attacks going. We're not going to waste any time on this. We're going to Bama 2 for the armor class boost of a -4. again, negative armor classes in old school D&D. Same thing for Wizardry. Get a Dilto from Draven, and we are going full on Moreless. We are going to try and strike fear into the hearts of these boring beetles. Doesn't seem like it should work, but at the same time, with the nature of how the spell works, I expect it to work, and that should give us a 5-point advantage hitting the boring beetles. Did not expect Elise to connect there before the buffs. Got one solid kill in. Now we are just going to go ahead and load up as much as we can here, just to show you what you're capable of. We're actually going to switch safe onto a Dilto, and we are going to cast some blessing spells from Draven and Cynic. Just try and get our armor classes as advantageous as possible. Right now the boring beetles are at a base armor class of 10. And our fighters are rocking a -8. That would be an effective armor class of 28 in modern D&D, scaling upwards from 10 as opposed to down. Also going to parry here in the back row, so Cynic has an unbelievable armor class of -9. And now the boring beetle's armor class is so poor that Deleast is actually making contact. So yeah, if you go all out on the buffs, you can, in fact, make it all but impossible to win a straight damage fight. And as you could see, even with the insane sort of advantage, a lucky roll will happen. The boring beetles will occasionally get a shot in, but it is once in a very blue moon. That should be a nice chunk of experience there. Yeah, almost a solid 1,000. Got Deleast's level up. One more run here, hoping for no whammies, nothing too terrible. A friendly group of Gash Dragons. We will certainly leave them as friendly as they are. And hit the chime again and hope it does. Oh! Yeah, this is what we were kinda hoping to delay. Vorpal Bunnies can one-shot kill, and it does seem they have a bit of a surprise round. However, it does seem like everything has a proclivity for running at the moment. The whole Vorpal Bunnies group, please. I wonder if, yeah, we'll get some experience out of the Werebears, hopefully. There's one Vorpal Bunny left and one Werebear left. So that whole big group came down to 1 and 1. Let's put Grumble on the Werebear. Put Kellner on the Vorpal Bunny, at least backing up the Werebear. Going to cast another Bama too, to get that -4 in. Now I have to look here. Werebears are resistant to ice, poison, and sleep. And it's just ice and sleep for the Vorpal Bunny. So effectively, I should be able to hit either one with a Halito and do the most damage I could hope to do. So yeah, we'll just cast some Halitos. When in doubt, do damage. Eight damage on the Vorpal Bunny, and it runs away. So all's well that ends well. The Werebear runs away too. wasting a couple level 1 spell slots, not the worst thing in the world. Didn't get our experience, but hey, 28 more gold per person's nice. 3 rotting corpses. These things will not run away, because they are nice and undead like that. Can paralyze, and you could see that experience total. The priest has the ability to dispel the undead, which is nice at low levels, but I'm not sure if you get halved experience or no experience. I want to say it's no experience in the first Wizardry. At some point it became reduced experience for chasing them off. So I'm not going to play that game. We'll cast a Matu with Draven. And let's just throw some big fire at the corpses. Probably a good call since our fighters aren't really connecting solid. Get 3 kills out of Sathon, and that is why you love the mage. Get that damage caster in there, and we've got our levels. Head back to town. Another thing you will notice is tangible, and I mean tangible feelings of progression as your characters level in the game. Level 1, you literally feel like tissue paper, and you're lucky to get a successful battle in. You almost want to run away from treasure chests because your poor thief's gonna try and disarm everything with their teeth and their eyes closed. It's a very harrowing thing just to get through the first few rooms. We're now heading into level 9 territory, so the characters are feeling pretty stalwart. But remember that this is the same game that took my A party and wiped them out in one surprise round on the 9th floor. So you can't rest on your laurels either. $18 hit points. What a fantastic level up. And we got a full 3 attribute points to put in. I've been leveling up his luck. I think we're going to go with agility for Grumble next, just to get that initiative count higher. Agility isn't going to factor into armor class like it would in Dungeons and Dragons. What it is going to do is pay off for when a character acts, and the quicker you can get through that bar, the more advantage it is for you. Delise gets 12 more hit points, and we got to get Delise up into some double-digit strength totals here. So that's where things stand now on this party. I think next time I make a video, we will go ahead and pull in our other party here. Start with Granda, Whimsy, Nimble. And 1 and a 2, Laura and Jean. And there's my sort of C party, de facto B party for now. And just follow them as they take a more comprehensive look at the upper floors, leveling up a bit, perhaps into their first encounter with Murphy's Ghost. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this. May not be super frequent videos because, again, life gets in the way, but I will try and make relevant updates and make sure if there's anything noteworthy, like an actual attempt to go down and retrieve the party, which is its own thing. I've seen a couple channels run this before, doing things the old-fashioned way. Retrieving a party is a thing in its own right and something I want to go over in greater detail when we get to that time. In the meantime, I'm going to leave things off here in town. Again, just a beautiful splash image. I absolutely love this look. Wizardry games in general, just seeing that hub town, the more modern games. I want to say Tale of the Forsaken Land is the first one that really sticks in my head, just that desolate, snowy area where you have the little towns seeing the buildings everywhere, and then the labyrinth entrance. But this is, again, another run in Wizardry. I thank you all for checking this out. This has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming, and we will see you soon.